Shalom and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today we are going to talk about one of King David's most important battles, the battle for the conquest of Jerusalem. And that's why we are here in the city of David, to learn who his enemies were and also to walk through the same tunnel that King David walked through. So, if you are ready, let's get started. Up there we see the remains of King David's palace, which is about 3,000 years old. But that's not what we came to see today, because we want to know who lived in and who controlled Jerusalem before King David arrived here. And that's why we're going to go back in time and enter the underground here in the city of David to find all this out. So come with me, because today's adventure is going to be huge. The people who lived here in Jerusalem were a Canaanite people called the Jebusites, and they were pagans, which means they believed in many gods. And here, in the archaeological excavations, what was found were many of their objects, including images and sculptures that they worshipped. But what were these people doing here in the land that God promised to Abraham and his descendants? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob lived here in the promised land. But in the time of Jacob, a great drought began, and the family was forced to go down to Egypt. They arrived in Egypt as a family, a large family, but still a family. But after 400 years, they became a huge people. And God will free his people from slavery and lead them to spend 40 years in the desert, and then they will return to the promised land. But during all that time, the land was not left empty. The Canaanite peoples also multiplied. And that's why the people led by Joshua will have to reconquer city after city. And they will take the territory and divide it among the 12 tribes. But neither Joshua nor the tribe of Judah managed to reconquer the city, as we see in this passage. However, the children of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem. That's because the Canaanites, the Jebusites who lived here, had great fortifications. But now, as we said, let's go into the underground of the city and learn more. Let's go. Centuries after Joshua, King David arrives here and tries to conquer the city of Jerusalem. The people of Israel tried for centuries and couldn't do it. And the Jebusite king, when he hears King David's plans, literally starts laughing and says, "There's no way you can conquer our city." And King David set out with his men to Jerusalem against the Jebusites who lived in that land. And they said to David, saying, "You will not enter here, for the blind and the lame will repel you," meaning David will not enter here. How could it be that the Jebusite king was so sure that David and the people of Israel would not be able to conquer the city? The reason is right here, exactly behind me. Look at these colossal walls they built. I mean, the city was extremely well protected. We know this even from accounts from the time of Joshua. When the spies arrived here, they went back and reported that the land of Israel had fortified cities and walls that reached up to the skies. Certainly for people in the ancient world, these walls really seemed to reach the heavens. But the Jebusites knew they had a weak point, which was the water spring, the Gihon spring, because it was outside the city of Jerusalem. So they built an extension that came out from the walls and enclosed this water spring. That way, they would have water inside the city, and the water wouldn't be available to anyone who wanted to invade. And that's exactly what we see here behind me. This gigantic wall was built to protect the water source, and you can see there was even a soldier's room. And if we could peel back this wall and look inside, we would see the water source.
Behind me are 400 truckloads of Temple Mount soil that were illegally dumped in 1999 like trash. But two archaeologists refused to let it disappear. They rescued the soil and created the Temple Mount Sifting Project. Today, over 500,000 artifacts have been recovered. Pottery from Solomon's temple, coins from Jesus' time, pieces of history that were meant to be lost forever. Now you can be part of this rescue mission, get authentic Temple Mount soil delivered to your door, and help keep biblical archaeology alive. Scan the QR code or use the link below.
David was here outside the walls of Jerusalem, and he really wanted to conquer the city. But as we said, the city was very fortified. And the Jebusite king was confident that because of the walls, David wouldn't be able to do it. But David had complete faith in God and knew that he could succeed. But the question is, how do you fight against such a big wall? David knew that he wouldn't stand a chance against the walls, so he needed an alternative plan. He tells all his soldiers that the first one to enter and strike the Jebusite will be the new chief of the army. And Joab, son of Zeruiah, volunteers to be the first to enter and strike the Jebusite. A few years earlier, none of the people of Israel wanted to fight against Goliath. And David was exactly the one who volunteered for that great mission. Now he calls another soldier to lead and volunteer against the Jebusites. And Joab takes on this mission. But again, how can they conquer the city? The walls are gigantic, but they realize that water enters and leaves the city somehow. The spring was inside the walls, but the water needed to go out because the farming was done outside. So if the water leaves the city, there is a way to get in through there, through that same pipe. The Bible calls this a tzinor, which literally means pipe. So Joab, David, and some soldiers enter through the Jebusites' water pipe to launch a surprise attack. And now, what we're going to do together is enter through that same pipe, literally following in King David's footsteps. So, are you ready? Because we're going to attack Jerusalem together. Here we see the entrance to the tunnel, which has been restored, but the inside is 100% original. Look how amazing this is. We're walking through the tzinor, the water system that the Jebusites built here. This is where King David entered. This is the passage through which Joab, King David, and the first soldiers entered to conquer Jerusalem. It must have taken a lot of courage to come through here in such a narrow place. They weren't sure where they would come out, but even so, they went in, came through here, and came out inside Jerusalem. It's important to explain that the water didn't reach all the way up there. The water probably reached up to thigh or waist height, depending on the part of the tunnel. And the tunnel was completely dark. They walked through here carrying torches to light the way. We are walking in a tunnel from approximately 3,800 years ago. This tunnel was already centuries old when King David walked through it, and it's impressive how well it's preserved to this day. David, King of Israel, lives and perseveres. David, King of Israel, lives and perseveres. The city of David is really cool. They are having fun.
Yes, come and see.
Guys, we were going to keep walking through the tunnel, but a family just passed by. It was the cutest thing. They saw us filming and decided to stop to sing King David's song. It's beautiful to see the generations in Israel, even today, so connected with history, especially with the story of King David. It was really nice for you to have this little taste of what it's like to be here and what the local people think about this place. But let's keep going because the direction King David walked is over there. Let's go. Guys, we're almost done with the tunnel that David walked through to enter the city. Look here. Now, guys, we've come out and we're inside what used to be Jebusite Jerusalem. Let's have a moment of silence. Can you hear it? The water from the Gihon spring still flows here to this day, more specifically right down here. Let's go down and understand what this place is nowadays. This is the same water spring from the time of King David, even before the time of the Jebusites. It's really amazing to see this water still flowing here today. This tunnel we're in now was built by King Hezekiah about 2,700 years ago to protect the city from the Assyrian invasion. He knew that the tunnel where King David entered was a weak point of the city. So he diverted the water from the Canaanite tunnel, from the upper tunnel to here. Hezekiah stopped up the upper spring of the waters of Gihon and made them flow down to the west side of the city of David because Hezekiah prospered in all his works. Do you remember the walls we saw a little while ago, built by the Jebusites to protect the Gihon water source? The main part of the water system is right here behind me. This used to be a pool filled with water. And very close to here is where King David managed to get in to conquer the city with a surprise attack. The great pride of the Jebusite king, his walls and fortifications, ended up being his weakness. In this way, David enters Jerusalem using the very architecture of the Canaanites. And this place is important for one more reason. It was here that Zadok and Nathan anointed King Solomon, the son of King David. This is a place of cycle and continuity for King David. The place where he begins his life in Jerusalem and where he passes the throne to his son. King David gives the city the name City of David, one of the names still used today. You can see his harp here in tribute. And the second thing that King David does is turn Jerusalem into the capital of the people of Israel. That was 3,000 years ago, and it is still the capital to this day. Me and 900,000 other people live in the city of Jerusalem today, a vibrant, beautiful place full of history, much of it connected to King David. Because without a doubt, the city wouldn't be what it is without him. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like because that helps us a lot. Big kisses, and I'll see you next time.